Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
Eddie Williams.
And tonight we're going to be doing an audio review of one of the newest Netflix movies that have come out, which is called Cargo. Directed by two directors. You have Ben Howling and someone named Yolanda Ramke. And this was an Australian film that was set in a post-apocalyptic world that features Martin Freeman from the Hobbit trilogy and also from Fargo and among others. And this film is basically set in the future, like in a post-apocalyptic kind of Mad Max setting, where you basically have a virus that breaks out, and a lot of the world has pretty much gone overrun with zombies, and you have a family man played by Martin Freeman and his wife and daughter who are trying to survive on this houseboat, on this riverboat and everything, and they're basically having to get basically some stuff goes down, and he ends up this is not a spoiler because this is kind of in the trailers. He ends up getting bit, and throughout the rest of the film, it's him trying to go somewhere with his child, and they have to come across. They also later encounter this little girl who basically sees the zombies as like actual people.
Yes.
And I gotta be honest, I didn't really hear much about this film until I accidentally came across like a clip of it on Facebook where I actually saw I got spoiled by the ending of it. And
yeah, basically how it came across me, I remember seeing the trailers pop up on Facebook, but other than that, I thought this movie, I didn't even pay attention on its release, and I actually legitimately thought it was going to be like some kind of August, September release. So I didn't even pay attention until suddenly I seen people reviewing it. I'm like, whoa, it's already out?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So, and I started watching, I actually got a chance to finally watch it, and, I actually am glad to see that Netflix has been putting more original films out, especially this one, because I'm a big fan of zombie films.
The one thing I do want to add to this was supposedly a take, not stolen, but it was given the go from an actual short.
Yeah, it's
basically there was a short that was made, I think last year or something, and this is what it's from.
Yeah,
it took that plot and put it into a movie.
Yeah, the same directors that did this film, they also did the short previously, and this is an extended version of that. Because after that was successful when it got viewed, they decided to do a feature-length film based on it. And so,
anyways, basically the movie, the plot is basically the guys trying to get to, basically find the right people to take care of his baby.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, after upon seeing the film, this was actually quite a surprise. For me, I actually really enjoyed this.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad to see a lot of different new original films that are coming on Netflix lately. There have been some really not so good ones like we had earlier this year, but I am always open to see what else Netflix does with these type of movies. And to get my pros out of the way, Martin Freeman, he really carries this movie a lot. I've always admired the guy as an actor.
He surprised. I mean, he didn't always surprise me. The guy is a great actor. I like him in everything he does, but he was really, really good in this movie.
Yeah, all the stuff that he goes through reminds me a lot like a cross between Hugh Jackman's performance as Wolverine and Logan, with a little bit of the guy who Joel from The Last of Us, because the movie does kind of have a Last of Us type feel of it as well. If you ever played the video game. And he really does carry this movie a lot, especially with the stuff that he goes through in order to get his daughter to safety. And you really see the slow decay, the slow progress that he goes through when he's, eventually going to become a zombie. Because
yes, you do. And I actually thought the way they become zombies, what a lot of people, this is what I liked about it. It did its different take on zombies. We're seeing zombies that have these orange goo come out their eyes, but also it takes 48 hours to become a zombie. Also, what's really weird is we get zombies that actually hibernate.
Yeah, they do. and that's something I don't see. I haven't really seen before in a zombie film. I thought that was a good spin on the genre, and I also like how they actually keep track of how long it takes to become zombies, because when you get bitten, it only gives you 48 hours to survive.
Yep.
And that's why they have to wear these bracelets throughout in order to keep track of it.
And couple my pros. I like the deserty setting was one, and two, I will say this movie was very emotional.
It was. This definitely had the feels for me. Like, not just the fact that you got Martin Freeman and carrying his daughter throughout the film, but you also get this really emotional stuff with this girl he comes across, played by an actress named. Hold on, let me find the actress's name. It's a girl who basically does like she's kind of more traditional. She's kind of like in this tribe or whatever, and
yeah, that's the one thing I don't understand. Were they in Australia?
Yeah, they were.
Okay, so those are like the what they are is the indigenous people of Australia.
Yes. And the actress Simone Landers, she plays a girl named Thumi, she treats the zombies like they're actual humans, because she feels like she's very lonely, because she was part of this tribe that she was in when the outbreak took place and everything. I did really enjoy how they really treated the zombies, kind of like if this was directed by George Romero, I think this is something that George Romero would really love as a film. Because
exactly, and another thing that was very emotional, and I'm not going to spoil this, there's also an emotional setting with another family.
Yeah, that really got to me. I thought that was just, not only was it shocking, but the fact that it's really, I don't want to go into detail, but when you see it happen, you're enthralled by it.
Yep.
And I also really enjoyed the music too. It really surrounds a lot of the atmosphere in the film, and the movie does have some.
Yes, I like it too.
Yeah, and the movie, while it's not very gory a lot throughout the film, when you do see the gore in it, they do use it to its advantage. And you also have not only the stuff going on to zombies, but you do also come across some human characters as well that are kind of doing their own thing. Especially this one person that Martin Freeman comes across that basically loses his mind after a while.
Yeah, and basically when it does, it's not gory like he says, but whenever it does need the gore, it's there.
Yeah, it is.
It had some guts and stuff in it.
Yeah, but this is one of those kind of zombie films that I feel like it really works on its own, like putting a new spin on it. And while it does take some liberties from other zombie films, it still had such an original feel of it that I was so engaged and so emotional that by the end of it, I was almost in tears.
Yes.
But now if I had really any kind of cons necessarily, I'd say that, well, it's not really a con, just as more as just a lack of background. I kind of wish that they could have put a little more detail in as far as where the virus came from and stuff. But I guess I was able to get behind that because this film to me I think was a good throwback to something that George Romero did back in the day, where you didn't necessarily need an explanation. It was all
see me, if I had a con, which I do, it's not. It's not all right. I agree with what you're saying with the. We don't need an explanation, but I do feel like they could have explained some other things. For one, we don't. I mean, you can give or take and not know where the virus came from, and it don't need a backstory. I get that, but there's other things that there are throughout this movie that there just isn't no background to. How do they have all. Everybody has bracelets, and what is that damn needle thing they were going to shoot her, every time they wanted to poke themselves with, but they never did? What is that?
Yeah, I was kind of questioning about that myself, because I was wondering.
And the bracelet, and, there was a lot of non-explanations to me, but other than that, I mean, there are some times it could be very slow depending on how type of a movie watcher you are. It's a give or take. I thought it was good, but there's going to be people out here that's probably not going to be for their taste.
Yeah,
per se, because even though there are some stuff that happens in this film, it is a very just more toned down zombie film.
I hear you, but as far as zombie films that we've had recently, this is one of the better ones we've had over a long time. I
thought it was way better than World War Z.
Yeah, to me, this is probably one of the best zombie films I've seen. Probably, I don't know. I'd probably have to go way back, but I'd say maybe Day of the Dead. I want to say, or at least on terms of like emotional. I think this would be a good like double feature with Day of the Dead, the original.
Yes, because Day of the Dead is still one of the best zombie films in my opinion, on the emotional especially.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, there's more we can go into detail, but that's really the general like premise of the film. It's really not really much to go into detail beyond that. But I will say that the film did really surprise me in a lot of ways, and despite my kind of wanting a little bit more explanation, I was still like blown away. I was still so invested with this film and so like very emotionally drawn that I really didn't really have much flaws. And so with that, I'm going to give it probably a low phenomenal grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
See, I wish they could have explained a little bit more, maybe added a little more to it. I get that it was trying to be very slow in its own, its own originality. Just wish they could have done a little bit more with it. With that said, I'm going to give it a high B+ compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
Fair enough. Well, for those of you who have also seen Cargo on Netflix, let us know in the comments of what you thought about it as well. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like, subscribe to our channel, and check out some of our other reviews at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.